the British, French, and Australians joining the U.S. in dropping aid, does this signal the building of a coalition and potentially expanded military action against ISIS? For more insight now, let's bring in Fox News military analyst Lieutenant General Tom McInerney. General, thanks very much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me, Doug.
First, your reaction to what we're seeing happening in Tripoli today.
Well, it's just a cascading series of events that go back 2 years ago to Benghazi to now, and you can see it's just continued to deteriorate. Very worrisome. Libya is going in the hands of the radical Islamists. Very dangerous.
And in the broader picture, another piece of evidence of the weakening of U.S. foreign policy.
Absolutely. And that's why, Doug, I believe the president ought to make some decisions, and one of them is to go to DEFCON 1, which we've never done before, but it means imminent danger and of chance of war, and Secretary Hagel over a week ago said that this threat is imminent with ISIS. We don't know what's coming at us, and so we've got to change our warning system, not the system, but alert our people that we are in a very dangerous time.
It seems to me that we're looking at, right now in the present time, a profound disconnect between what we're seeing and hearing from the White House and what we're seeing and hearing from the Pentagon. I want you to take a look at these two sound bites, one from Josh Earnest on Friday, the White House press secretary, and also from Rear Admiral John Kirby, the Pentagon press spokesman.
The president hasn't yet laid out a specific plan for military action in Syria. And the reason for that is simply that the Pentagon is still developing that plan, and he's still reviewing them.
I think that anybody who has any knowledge of the United States military knows that we're ready. We're ready all the time.
The clock didn't start with the beheading of the American journalist. That was just a symptom of what was a long and growing problem for the United States. So it's not wrong, it's just very, very late in the game, and it presents fewer options. So 3 years ago we had really good options in Syria and how to stop their pooling in the east and going into Iraq. 2 years ago we had better options, not great options. Today our options are far more limited, far more dangerous, and will call for far more engagement.
General, you know the people in the Pentagon. Are they frustrated with the situation?
Well, even more important is I know how the system works, Doug. But in answer to your question, they are extremely frustrated, and the system works. The president puts out strategy objectives. We defeat ISIS, we deter them, we dissuade them. Whatever the objectives are, they come from the White House. The Pentagon plans and executes. They are ready to do anything the president wants, but as you can see from the two previous sound bites, the president is not making decisions, and that is deeply frustrating, and frankly, it is endangering our national security.
Winston Churchill, who is one of the great historical figures of modern day or of the 20th century, and probably no favorite of the president's, said that one of the worst things you can do in warfare, and I guess the White House would dispute whether or not we were actually engaged in war. I think ISIS is probably not disputing that. But he said one of the worst things you can do in war is to be indecisive.
And it still is the same thing. And we are indecisive. So where is it popping up? It pops up in Libya, as we've just seen. It pops up in the Ukraine. It's popping up throughout the Middle East. When you have King Abdullah of Saudi Arabia saying in a month it'll be in Europe and another month it'll be in the United States, he is giving us a warning. And that's why I say as we lead up to 9/11, we must increase our alert status globally. We don't know what's going to come at us, whether it's big or little, whatever, but we must have the mindset that we think it is a very perilous time.
But what are the potential downsides, the consequences of arming some of the moderate rebels in Syria? When we see reports like what happened just last week, that the Free Syrian Army was apparently participating in the abduction of 40-some UN peacekeepers in the Golan Heights. Are these the people that we want to start supplying with weapons?
Well, two different things, in the Ukraine and in Syria. Syria, we backed, I believe, in some cases, some of the wrong people, and not in the right part of the Free Syrian Army. And that's a little confusing to people. So I've always maintained, to go back quite some time, that we were backing the wrong types. I think it's going to turn out maybe this weekend in a new special that Brett Baer is going to have Friday that's going to show some of those weapons from Benghazi ended up in the hands of ISIS. So we helped build ISIS. Now there's a danger there, and I'm with you. But in the Ukraine, we need to show support. in Iraq against Syria and in Iraq, we need to show support that we're going to go and take down, I believe, take down ISIS. And we can do that without boosting Bashir al-Assad if we back the right groups and we attack those parts of the ISIS elements that are doing the attacks into Iraq. That's what we need to focus on, and we need to do it now.
Lieutenant General Tom McInerney, always appreciate your insights, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Doug.